Hello, welcome back to Matsuribayashi. Last time, great episode, more Tomodachi talk, fun, wholesome stuff. I think we got Rika's mom kind of beefing with Takano, which kind of led Takano to have sort of a breakdown where she finally starts going crazy a bit. Though I think it's not. Again, it's a little surprising, honestly, because I thought my prediction was pretty solid. Like, she would like switch her goal into like becoming the curse after they lose funding. But I mean, technically, Tatano's goal hasn't shifted. She's just now willing to kill people and stuff. So yeah, so maybe you can still see that, but the shift did happen. So what do we have to look at? We have Red Capsule. We have Mysterious Death. I think that might be it. Oh, we have this one too. We have a roll of one, which I think will lead to this, maybe. That sounds very roll of one-y. If you had to. If Takano had to roll a one, it would be Koizumi dying and losing some funding. It's a loud train, holy shit. It sounded louder than usual. I think we should do the red pill, and then we can get some Rena's intro to the arc. Sounds pretty good to me. Or a red capsule. But question mark? It happened. Apparently that doesn't count. That's insane to me. What? I guess we have to do the mysterious death first. Or disappearance. Or whatever. This one first. Deep down, I was prepared for something to happen tonight once again. Is this a Oishi POV? Dude, you know I love a Oishi POV. The first year, the workers were stirred into a frenzy, killing and dismembering the old man. And the second year, the Hojo couple were killed through a fake accident. Since the damn protests, only people who have been hated by the villagers died on the day of the Watanagashi. Some people in the village were calling the incidents the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Now that the damn protests are over, there would be no meaning in the village's enemies being killed on the night of the festival, I thought. If that was true, then there were still some enemies left over. I thought that perhaps that would happen again on the night of the festival 3 years in a row. My hunch was right. At first, however, it looked so natural that I didn't think anything of it. The festival was nearing its end, and the village officials were gathered under the main tent. They opened their beers and enjoyed leftover corn and braised cow tripe from the refreshment stands. I was in the main tent too, being entertained by the villagers. So I was actually there at the scene of the 3rd year's incident when it happened. Yet I didn't notice anything at the beginning. Most of the older folks in the village were heavy drinkers, but a few were lightweights too. The priest was one of the latter. The priest was a representative as well as a host during the Watanagashi festival. So every time visitors and guests arrived, he greeted them, and each time he was offered a drink. So by the night's end, he was pretty worn out. That's why I didn't have anything of it to see the priest sitting by himself in a folding chair. The mayor, Kimiyoshi, was the one to tap his shoulders and ask him if he was alright.
すみません。ちょっと疲れたようです。
あれ、あんた心臓やってたっけ？急に痛くなるのは良くない兆しだよ。入江先生、先生。
Save him.
どうしましたか？胸ですか？それは良くないですね。
When I saw what was going on, I noticed he was covered in a terrible sweat and was definitely not relaxing in his chair and enjoying the cool evening breeze. His face had a sickly pallor. Pallor? I mean, I obviously that means color, but never seen the word. And I thought he should lie down immediately.
ちょっと診療所にお連れした方がいいかもしれません。大丈夫ですか？私の肩につかまれますか？
おいおい、誰か手伝ってやれ。神主さん、調子が悪いらしいぞ。
うちの人どうかしたんですか？あなた大丈夫？
高野さん、ちょうど良いところに。
Oh boy.
神主さんの具合が悪いようなので診療所に連れて行きます。すみませんが、境内の下に車を回してもらってもよろしいですか？
ええ、お安いご用ですわよ。
So the priest and his wife headed to the clinic with Dr. Irie. I don't know about young people, but the elderly know their own bodies well. They almost never push themselves to the point where they start feeling ill. Especially someone like the priest. It was hard to imagine him drinking himself sick. The cumulative experience of my years was telling me something. I headed to the Irie clinic just in case. I tried to follow their car, but because the festival was almost over and all the stands were closing up, there was a lot of traffic going in and out, making it almost impossible for me to leave the temporary parking lot. More than 20 minutes has passed since the priest was carried in by the time I arrived at the clinic. 20 minutes. If it hadn't taken me 20 minutes, my involvement in this year's incident would have been quite different. I regretted not leaving on foot the moment I realized how hard it was to get my car out. All I get to do now is jot down the facts. Because between the time the priest left the festival and the time I arrived at the clinic, during those 20 minutes, this year's curse had taken place. The priest's condition changed for the worse right after he arrived at the clinic. He died. The autopsy result says it was heart failure, but how can I accept that? I don't think the priest was having health problems, and everyone was taken by surprise by this sudden event. Moreover, the wife of the priest disappeared too. According to the clinic staff, she was with him right after he died. But she's nowhere to be seen now. Of course, she's not at home either. Maybe someone poisoned the priest. During the dam conflict, the priest was frowned upon for his remarks. He said there was no need to make a big fuss because the dam project would be cancelled anyway. The older villagers like to hold grudges and hadn't forgotten that, so even I heard the word of them talking about how the priest wasn't fit for the shrine to Oyashiro-sama. I called for backup and had them go search for the missing wife. With last year's falling couple incident as precedent, it was easy to believe both the wife and husband could become victims. The villagers' youth group got organized and searched from the village to the mountains, and as a result, we found a set of sandals and a will by the edge of the Onigafuchi swamp. The will said something about her husband's death was the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and she was throwing herself in the swamp to calm the god's anger. In other words, she committed suicide by jumping into the swamp. Legend says that the swamp is bottomless and is connected directly to hell. Once you sink, you'll never come back. Divers from the police department searched the swamp, but her body was nowhere to be found. The past two mysterious incidents were solved individually, just as the higher-ups say, but something is odd about this year's mysterious death. The ill priest was carried to the clinic. His wife accompanied him. Within 20 minutes, the priest died of heart failure, and the wife either committed suicide or disappeared. The death of the priest may really have been a fatal heart attack, but for his wife to assume that it was the curse and to commit suicide by jumping into the swamp, for all that to happen in 20 minutes just doesn't seem natural. The Furude family has no relatives. Even if she was a true believer in Oyashiro-sama, how could she commit suicide while leaving behind her one and only daughter? Irie is hiding something too, but he's just a village doctor, which means he's nothing more than their pawn. If this is all a conspiracy to assassinate the priest, then there's someone who is pulling the strings. I had been starting to think that trying to tie the past two incidents to the village so forcefully was a bit overbearing for me, but this incident was enough to convince me that the series of cases involving mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa were all grounded in one intention. This incident has countless number of discrepancies, but someone from the village seems to be putting pressure on high command. And just like the past incidents, this one will be treated as an individual case and end up being forgotten. Since it happened 3 years in a row, everyone in the village will say it's the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I think that's the culprit's goal. After the war, belief in Oyashiro-sama became antiquated. Is someone committing these murders as a ritual to restore that god's dignity? The one pulling the strings must be the Sonozaki family. A few months passed. Oryu Sonozaki said something like it was natural for the priest to be cursed by Oyashiro-sama, and so the priest's case was lumped together with the mysterious Hinamizawa deaths, otherwise known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. At first, I simply wanted to avenge the old man. But now that case had gone into an abnormal one, centered on the village's faith. Damn it, the old man's killer is human. I won't let it be pushed off onto some nonsense curse. That was a good one. I feel like, for me, the third curse was probably like the most mysterious. And you can see why, because they left out so many details, but they kind of had to. Like, because we had no idea that they went to the clinic before they died. And, I mean, I always just assumed the husband just died in the temple. And then the wife committed suicide 20 minutes after. Dude, I'm just saying, in watching Higurashi, if you told me, or at least, like, up to Totoroshi, if you told me the husband went to the clinic and then he died in the clinic, that would have been so much fuel for the clinic theory. I'm just saying that would have spiced it up. So now I'm pretty sure we can do, wait, where did it go? The red capsule? Hopefully they don't show anything about Rika's mom, dude. That's so sad. And I'm wondering what Irie, because Irie has to know about the mom at least. I think, like, Takano spiked her with it, and then, like, once she reached L5, Irie didn't really have a choice, right? The strange medicine that I can hardly remember was a capsule. Or maybe it was an oval tablet. It was red, so it was so red it must have been a capsule. I can't imagine a tablet in that color. It must have been a capsule. I think it was a little bigger than a normal one. I think. I can't remember. Although I can hardly remember, if I see that medicine again, it'll refresh my memory. Please don't be from Rika's mom's POV. That medicine strips away humanity. It takes away a human soul, memory, emotion, and it numbs the human body. There are no thoughts, no interests, no will to stay awake or asleep. There's no sense of time. Sometimes a second can feel like an eternity, and other times I can almost see the hour hand move. Either way, there's no emotion involved. I can't feel any emotion. The medicine only lets me stay in bed and looked up at the ceiling. The people who have taken it can understand this misery. Only the people who have taken it. What's more scary is that while I'm on the medication, I don't realize how scary it is. I'm given the medication daily and I keep losing all my senses. So, when the medicine wore off by accident, I realized I should never take it again. Maybe this isn't Rita's mom. It might actually be Rena. I kind of just assumed it's Rita's mom, which would be horrifying, but maybe it's Rena, because this kind of unlocks Rena's story and, you know, Rena's history with medicine. That's right. This is a medicine that will heal me. It's just going to kill me slowly. If I continue to take this medicine, I probably wouldn't be able to tell if I was dead or alive, and I would end up losing myself forever. I'll keep looking up at the ceiling without any emotions and keep watching the clock tick forever. If I take the medicine again, I'll lose all the senses I finally regained. I may never be able to bring myself back again. Since the day I realized that, I've been pretending to take the medicine, but throwing it away instead. If your doctor prescribes medication, you have to finish taking it, even if your symptoms are gone. I can hear my mother's voice. Okay, it's definitely not Rita's mom. Good. Because that would just be horrifying. I don't want to see that. I already feel bad for her because she's being freaking experimented on by Takano. Also, like, if Yuri is working on that, it makes me sad. I don't know. Especially since he hangs out with Rika and Satoko so much. Oops, I skipped the line. Anytime I went to the doctor's office when I was a child, my mother said that to me. I usually got well before I finished all the medicine, so I didn't finish taking the rest. That's why my mother said that. Okay, so this isn't Rena, because this is the mother? I don't really know. I can't think of anyone besides Keiichi, but like, really? I don't know about that. But this is a different type of medicine. I don't even remember how old I was when my mother said that. But with this strange capsule in front of me, I have to try and get rid of my mother's voice from inside my head. Okay, this might be Rena. So this person's just hearing the mother's voice. I pressed down my head with my elbows until it hurt, trying to get rid of what my mother kept telling me. Right. As my head clears, I start to remember the ugly side of my mother. Okay, yes, this is totally Rena. My mother betrayed her family. She betrayed me and my father, who waited for her at home with dinner on the table. She told us she was busy with work, but she was having an affair. That was bad enough, but she asked my father for a divorce, and he took such good care of her for so many years. But there's something else I can't forgive her for. She invited only me to meet with her new family. Not my father, just me. My father and I are family. Family means being together. Yet my mother tried to destroy the bond between my father and me. Not only had she destroyed her bond with him, she tried to destroy my bond with him too. When I remember, it makes me feel angry and hateful, and I can't forgive her. The back of my eyes started to hurt, and I could feel the hatred on my face. That overflowing animosity is aimed not only at my mother, but also the man she had an affair with. Uncle Akihito. I didn't like him teasing me, but he gave me an allowance and tried to have fun with me. I liked him very much, but his niceness was all calculated. He wanted to destroy the family bonds between my mother, my father, and me. That's why I shouldn't have said I liked him very much. That's right. I'm starting to remember and understand. I now know my true enemy. It was his fault that my mother started to have an affair. Because my mother was a very good mother. He was the one who made her a bad one. So he's the one who deserves the blame. When was the first time I met him? I think it was the time when my mother and I went out and had lunch at a restaurant. She introduced him as one of her colleagues from work. At that time, if I think about that first meeting, I think I felt something wasn't right with the way my mother acted around him. That's right, I did. I did think something was wrong. It didn't feel right. I wish I had trusted my instincts then. I was a fool to think he was a nice person just because he gave me a strawberry from his piece of cake. It was not my father's fault. Because I bet he never met Uncle Akihito. But I have. I've met him many times, and there are a lot of chances to realize he was my enemy. If I had a strong enough will to protect my happiness, I could have noticed that. I can't forget how my father looked on that day. My father, who was so nice and gentle, grabbed his knees so tightly and cried so hard. He asked me if I knew Uncle Akihito. I answered yes. Then he slapped me in the face. When he slapped me, I finally realized how stupid I was for being taken in by him. That's right, it was my fault. I destroyed the happiness I hoped to last forever with my own hands. If I hadn't been that stupid, my father wouldn't have had to cry like that, and my mother would have stayed good. If I wasn't that stupid, it was my fault. I can't forgive my mother and Uncle Akihito. Even when I hate him this much, I still call him Uncle, and I can't forgive myself for that. It was my fault, everything was my fault. I was too stupid and foolish, and that's why this happened. I hate her. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. I can't stop being angry. If my mother ever came back to this house, I would rip her apart with my hands. But she never came back. My anger turned towards everything that my mother left in the house. I destroyed every relic my mother left behind, one after another. I threw and smashed everything. But that still didn't calm me down. Oh! Even after I turned the whole house upside down, I still couldn't calm my anger. Where does my anger gather? It starts from the inside of me, goes through my arms, to my fingertips, and spurts from my nails. Where else can it go? So my nails aim at my own body. My body is the filthiest and most disgusting thing of all. I am the one to be blamed. No. I'm not to blame. My mother's most at fault. My mother's the most corrupt. My body and soul feel filthy. I want to stain myself black and slice the remaining flesh into pieces. And one day I finally realized. There are tons of maggots in my blood. I am rotten. I am rotten from the inside. Come on, rot more. But it's indescribably itchy. It is itchy, 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 itchy. I stabbed my thigh with a razor blade in the bathroom. The blood flowed out. Reddish black maggots spilled out. I forced myself to open my blood vessels with my thumbs. The maggots spilled out. Squirm, 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 squirm. So many maggots spilled out from my left thigh. There are probably just as many in my right thigh. Maybe my calves too. My arms, abdomen, chest. No. How many maggots are there in my blood vessels in my neck? Strangely, although I've become rather insane, there's still a part of me that is calm. If I keep ripping myself apart like this, I'll end up dead. But everything is my fault, and I'm the one to be blamed. Even if I blame my mother, the only way I can disgrace her is with my own body. Oh, I get it now. That's the best means for quelling my anger. I feel like I'm thinking incredibly rationally now. In order to forgive myself, I need someone else to blame. It has to be someone else's fault. But no such person exists. No matter how much I think about it, or how I twist the logic, my own body is my only outlet to vent this anger. So as long as there's no one else to blame, I'll be forced to rip every blood vessel in my body. Rip open. Just like no matter how much I scratch, it still itches. No matter how much I rip apart my own body, it's not enough. The blood is all over the bathroom, and I'm sure it makes for quite the gruesome scene. Although I'm trying to stay calm, I can't ignore the sharp pain that runs through my body. Maybe because I've lost so much blood, or maybe because I'm naked in the bathroom, I feel freezing cold. My whole body is throbbing, and my heart is beating so fast. I'm cold and hot at the same time, and I'm also sad, angry, and in pain. I want to find something that lets me forgive myself. Oh yeah, Shiro. Then, it came. It came in a heavenly light. It was so mysterious and unreal, like something out of this world. It apologized. It kept apologizing. Why is it apologizing? You apologize when you're at fault. So this thing I just met for the first time was admitting to wronging me. That means I'm not at fault? It's not at fault, it's at fault, not me. I dropped the razor blade. It fell into the puddle of blood. The pain is taking over my body. The pain of ripping apart my own body is taking over me. I've been telling myself this pain is the punishment for what I've done. But I'm not at fault, it is, so I don't need to accept this pain as punishment. So I don't need to defile my body anymore. She continued apologizing to me over and over as I stood there covered in fresh blood. She apologized every time I wanted to blame myself, constantly whispering that it wasn't my fault. Oyashiro-sama exists. She's always following me. Pit-pat, pit-pat. And every time I can't endure the guilt, she apologizes and tells me I'm not at fault. Everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Things started to go wrong when I broke the rule that I wasn't supposed to leave Hinamizawa. I finally remember. When I moved from Hinamizawa, one of my neighbors gave me a charm. She said if I left Hinamizawa, I'd be cursed, so I had to take the charm. That's right, she gave me a charm. It had some complicated writing on it. But I haven't seen it since I moved here. I may have lost it. There's nothing I can do about that. If Hinamizawa residents leave Hinamizawa, they'll be cursed. My mother and I, even Akihito too, may have gone insane because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Nobody was at fault from the beginning, because everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Nobody is at fault. Nobody. I am finally able to forgive everything. The anger that I couldn't get rid of even after I destroyed everything, including my body and soul, is finally gone. Father, now I know. The curse of Oyashiro-sama is what caused my mother to leave, and for you to be sad. So sad. You remember Oyashiro-sama, don't you? The guardian deity of Hinamizawa. That's right. People of Hinamizawa aren't supposed to go to the outside world. That's why Mother went insane. It's all because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. If you stayed in Hinamizawa, we would have been happy. Oyashiro-sama came to me and told me that. Come to think of it, Oyashiro-sama has been trying to tell me that for a long time. After Mother left, I didn't know why she left or how to express my anger. Oyashiro-sama kept following me ever since then to let me know that. She followed me everywhere, the sound of her footsteps echoing behind me. But I pretended I didn't notice her. I was so stupid. I didn't hear her voice until I slashed my body all over. If only I had listened to Oyashiro-sama's voice. I bet she started warning me once Uncle Akihito came into my life. If the whole family had gone back to Hinamizawa, my mother wouldn't have had an affair. We would have been happy there. I bet Oyashiro-sama has been trying to tell me that. That's right, she must have been trying to warn me ever since we left Hinamizawa. She was always with me. She followed me everywhere. I was stupid trying to pretend I didn't notice. Everything was because of that stupidity. If I had noticed Oyashiro-sama's voice, my family wouldn't have suffered from the curse. It's all my fault. Oyashiro-sama's apologizing. She keeps apologizing, which means that it's her fault. So this isn't my fault, is it? Because this is the curse of Oyashiro-sama, right? She's apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oyashiro-sama is apologizing repeatedly. So, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't hear your voice. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We are from Hinamizawa, so we have to keep hearing your voice. Oyashiro-sama definitely exists. Can't you hear her, father? Don't you see? Oyashiro-sama is right there apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. Come on, father, let's apologize too. Mother, you don't have to apologize. You should die because of the curse. I hate you, mother. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I hate myself for being your daughter. These maggots are your fault. They made me itch everywhere. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, I don't want that medicine. My mother got it to kill me, so I don't want it. I won't take it. I told you I won't take it. Stop. This is a curse, so you can't fix it with medicine. It won't get rid of the maggots because this is a curse. No, I don't want a shot either. Stop. It hurts. Oh, it's not over, dude. Everything has fallen into a grave world. Don't jump the gun. The voices of my father and the doctor sound so far away. Even what just happened seems like it happened a long time ago. Again, I'm given the capsule and my memory is from a minute ago is gone. I'm back in my bed, staring at the ceiling. And what I can see, the only thing that interests me is the hands of the clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I follow the minute hand as it goes around quickly, and the hour hand as it goes around slowly. I see other things too, but they keep going through the same motions, just like the hands on the clock. I'm sorry. It's my fault, I'm sorry. Oyashiro-sama keeps apologizing. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm sorry. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm sorry. Repeating over and over constantly and nothing else. The chorus of the Higurashi coming in through the window during the night seemed louder than usual. There we go. I was trying to say what a fun chapter. Fragment. That was good. You know what I got from it? I got some major grade 12 Aiden in creative writing class vibes. Because I used to write the edgiest shit. And that really reminded me of like a poem I wrote. That was like apparently the best thing I wrote according to my teacher at the end of the year report. But yeah, that was, I mean, obviously this was better. But, dude, I kind of love that. Anyways, that was just insight into Rena's psyche on why she was so obsessed with Oyashiro-sama. The only thing I noticed, which I guess probably just depends from fragment to fragment, is I remember once they talked about this, the Rena background and the Oyashiro-sama stuff, even in Sumi Horoboshi. I'm pretty sure she referenced the voice as a man's voice. And I think early on I actually theorized something like it was a Wishi because it's freaking back then. I think in Anatachi or Watanashi. But yeah, in this one she clearly said it's a woman's voice because, you know, she can hear Hanyu apologizing, so that made sense. But yeah, that was the only difference. Fun stuff. So we have a couple of things we can do. I know we can still do boop 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 this roll of 1, and we have Rena Ryuru. I feel like maybe we should just do like not this and save some of that stuff for next episode. It might be fun. Let's do this. Again, I think it's the easiest guess that Koizumi dies. It happened so suddenly. Until Koizumi passed away. There you go. Yeah. You can feel it. I never heard he was ill or wasn't feeling well. His chest started to hurt suddenly and he couldn't sleep. He called an ambulance for the first time in his life because he didn't think he could endure the pain. He was taken into emergency care, but he didn't live to see morning. It was an acute myocardial infarction. But maybe it was the best possible way to go. Instead of being in bed for many years, slowly dilapidating and withering away, he was healthy until his death, so I think he must have lived a wonderful life. But still, it was too sudden. I wish I told him uncle more. It's too late though. Uncle Koizumi would never smile at me again with his wrinkly old face, no matter how many times I called for him. He was my guardian until now. He always looked after me, making sure my efforts received proper recognition. Maybe he only did that because he couldn't help my grandfather when he was alive. But still, he was an important person to me. He wasn't just my political backing, but I didn't realize that when he was alive. I only thought of using his power for my own agenda. But after he died, I realized. Uncle Koizumi was my grandpa too. He provided the warmth and protection that I longed for from my own grandfather. At his funeral, I shed tears. I thought I forgot how to.
おじいちゃん、今までありがとう。もっとおじいちゃんって呼んであげればよかったね。
No matter how many times I called to him, he would never reply. What can I do for him at this point is complete my research. What I can do for him. I must accomplish my goal for his sake. When my grandfather's research is finally acknowledged, Uncle Koizumi's name will be known once again for being the sole supporter of his endeavor. I believe that's the best way to repay him for everything he has done. I vowed to devote myself to my work even more from this day on. But, unfortunately, hardships and sadness tend to come together. It was like the tailwind that blew steadily until today suddenly became a headwind. The wind shifted far too suddenly, so strong, so cold, and so sad.
どういうことなの、ジローさん。
We're budget trimmed. You know, I bet this was before Takano kind of snapped at Rika's mom and stuff. She was probably just under a lot of stress from all this happening, right? Maybe.
小泉先生が入江機関設立の立役者だったのは高野さんも知ってるよね。関係機関でなかなか承認の取れなかったのを小泉先生が強力に抑え込んで無理やり通させたって話なんだよ。何しろ医薬品業界で絶大な功績を挙げられた戦後日本復興の重鎮だからね。政財界に絶大な影響力を持たれていたし。
その小泉先生が亡くなって小泉先生が通した無理やりが通らなくなったということ。
あくまでも噂なんで本当のところは僕にもわからないんだけど、一部の予算配当やプロジェクトの見直しが行われるらしいというのを聞いたんだよ。
入江機関が廃止されるということ。
いや、入江機関を見直すというのは聞いたことないけど、ただ 小泉先生の死後、長老たちの派閥や勢力、後継者争いがややこしくなっているってもっぱらの噂なんだ。すでにクライアントの人事にかなりの影響を与え始めてるらしいんだ。それで小泉派が主導していたプロジェクトや聖域予算に対し締め付けが行われるんじゃないかって憶測が飛び交ってるらしいんだよ。もちろんそれらは全て僕にとって雲の上の話だからね。伝え聞いた噂話でしかないんだけれど。
Jiro kept saying there were rumors, but that told me the wind's direction has changed. Or maybe Jiro-san already knows everything and is simply trying to warn me about it. And then, at our next routine audit, Jiro-san made it clear with his own mouth. High-ranking government officials who had never came here before attended the routine audit along with Jiro-san. Just by seeing those faces, I could tell the turning point is approaching.
ご存知の通り、アルファベットプロジェクトは戦後日本の国際的な地位向上を目的としたものです。ですが、すでに昭和も50年代に至り、西暦は21世紀を間近にしております。
In this day and age, we must put the past behind us and start looking forward to a new world. He meant exactly what he said. Japan has already put the past behind, and is cutting off its ties to the ghosts that wish to resurrect the militaristic might of the previous war era.
戦後40年間、我が国は世界への平和的貢献を模索し、国際的地位を確立するに至りました。日本は国際社会において重要なポジションを担う国家として成熟し、来世紀にはますますにその存在感を強めることでしょう。
The Alphabet Project, the main sponsor of the Irie Institute, are a group of people who want to develop a weapon that would act as a deterrent to the nuclear weapons which Japan is forbidden to own. So they've come to the Irie Institute, one of its branch organizations, to tell us Japan has now renounced nuclear arms. So the Irie Institute will be facing a strong, cold headwind from now on. The roll of the die that came up with one on that stormy day has reappeared. I won't let the results of a die affect me. The power of my will won't be beaten by some god's roll of the dice.
よって現在時代に即した形になるようアルファベットプロジェクトの見直しを進めています。新生アルファベットプロジェクトは国際交流と経済発展の二軸からなる平和外交の見地から日本の地位向上を模索していくことになるでしょう。
All of the people who hold tremendous influence in politics and economy of Japan were born before the war, so naturally they want to regain the glory of pre-war Japan. The very idea that we can win next time if we research the new bomb that defeated us is itself a specter of the war. No, everyone already realized that. It was just that no one could speak out against the grandstanding elders they owed their gratitude towards. Soon the old will wither away and a new generation will take control. Uncle Koizumi was, in a way, the last remaining pillar for the old generation. His death is a chance for the new generation to step in. The things they couldn't argue openly are now being discussed. They pointed out from the beginning the Alphabet Project was created for the personal satisfaction of a small group of people, and it sucked money out of the treasury. And so the new generation of politicians have taken over from the old.
よってアルファベットに関わるすべてのプロジェクトで今後大幅な予算の見直しが図られていくことになります。
Dude, that's an angry Tomotaki face. I don't think I've seen that before.
これはもちろん入江機関も例外ではありません。どうかご了解をいただけますようよろしくお願いいたします。
わかりました。私たちもスポンサーあっての研究です。どうかよろしくお願いいたします。
Irie responded appropriately, but he's obviously bewildered. The best equipment and staff are being provided to the Irie Institute. In other words, our research requires a huge amount of money. For those with no interest in Hinamizawa syndrome, they probably won't be able to understand why that much money is being put into the research of distressing parasites. If they're simply going to revise their budget, that would be fine. We were receiving more than enough money. That would naturally be adjusted. It hurts, but we can endure. That's what I thought. But if just enduring it was enough, it wouldn't be a one on the die. So even in that sense, this is definitely a role of a die coming up as one.
でありまして、この4月に新体制の理事会が発足し、全プロジェクトに対する新方針が示されました。これにつきましては、お配りします資料をご覧ください。
His papers were then passed around. He studied over the details, but I read through quickly, so I had to learn about their stupid decisions first.
入江機関はこれまで先進的な研究において数々の目覚ましい成果を上げられ、未知であったひなみ沢症候群の全貌解明、そして治療薬の開発を成し遂げました。理事会でもこの成果は大変に高く評価しています。これもすべて入江所長以下入江機関全職員のたゆみない努力によるものと思っております。
いえ、恐縮です。
Even while we received the congratulations, a tense atmosphere surrounded me and Irie. It's customary to start the conversation in the opposite way you're planning to take it before delving into the main point to convey. If the main issue is something good, then start with something bad, or vice versa.
入江機関の研究目的は2つありました。ひなみ沢症候群の研究と治療法の確立、そして多面運用の模索です。新生理事会はこの後者の多面運用の模索については即時の中止を決定しました。これらの研究開発が国内で行われていた事実と痕跡は今後はむしろアキレス腱になりかねません。入江機関は直ちにこれに関わるすべての研究を中止し一切を破棄してください。
わかりました。ご指示に従います。
Irie replied with that immediately. Irie was assertive about finding a cure, but was never even remotely interested in researching the disease's use for military purposes. So I'm sure he has no qualms about concurring with such demands. But I don't agree, because our research will be more limited if we're just trying to find a cure. To me, finding that cure is simply a byproduct of my larger goal of discovering everything about the syndrome.
また、入江機関につきましては、最長3年以内をめどに研究の収束を図ってまいります。予算もそれに合わせ段階的に縮小する方針です。
ちょっと待ってください。近年ようやくひなみ沢症候群の全貌が分かり、今まさに治療法の研究を進めているところです。確かに研究は日々進んでおりますが、3年という短い期間で確実に完成させられることをお約束はできません。
理事会では入江機関はすでに治療薬について十分な研究を完成させているという認識です。すでに入江機関は治療薬 C117 を完成させ、その臨床データを多数。
いえ、完成なんてとんでもない。まだまだ試薬の域を出ず、村人全員を治療できる目処は全く立っていません。このような段階で研究終了ありきでの議論は全くもって無謀としか言いようがありません。
I'm surprised that Irie objected. Thanks to him, I didn't have to say anything. But if Irie hadn't objected, I'm sure I would have shrieked in protest.
それでは入江機関には現時点では感染者全員を治療し、ひなみ沢症候群を撲滅することは不可能だということですね。
そうです。もちろん村人全員の治療とひなみ沢症候群の撲滅は将来的には不可能なことではありませんし、私もそれを最大の目標にしています。ただそれには十分な時間が必要で、そのためには無論予算も必要です。私たちは調べ、実践し、確立する仕事をしています。設計図に従ってものを作り、 期間があれば必ず決まった成果が出せる仕事とは事情が違います。どうかそこを誤解なさらないようにしていただきたいです。
I guess Irie speeds out when he needs to. And what he's saying is absolutely right. Research isn't something guaranteed to produce results with money and time. But I disagree with some of the things he said. He's objecting about the time and the money, but he's basically agreeing to limit our research only towards finding a cure for Hinamizawa syndrome. That won't do. We won't unravel any mysteries that way. At that rate, the discovery of Hinamizawa syndrome won't be recognized as my grandfather's great achievement.
なるほど。入江所長のおっしゃることもごもっともと思います。私どもにとっての最大の目的は、軍事目的の研究が行われていたことの完全な破棄です。よって、hinamizawa症候群という特殊現象が研究されていた痕跡と、そもそも存在していた事実についても隠蔽すべきであると考えます。
That's the nail in the coffin for Takano.
最終的にhinamizawa症候群が世間に知られることなく撲滅されるならば、そのための期間と予算は必要不可欠なものでしょう。
That's
それについては今後協議を重ねていくということでよろしいでしょうか。
That's definitely the switch, because now she can't show it legitimately, so if she forces the plan to be carried out and the rumors of Hinamizawa syndrome and stuff, that would probably be enough. Plus leaking the documents. Actually, yeah, that's what she does, right? She leaks the documents too.
はい、依存ありません。
では入江機関はできるだけ早急にhinamizawa症候群撲滅を秘密裏に行えるプランと予算案を作成提出してください。極力ご指示を汲み取れるよう努力します。
わかりました。早急に提出いたします。
誤解ないようにしていただきたいのは、私どもはあくまでも研究を直ちに中断させようというのではなく、円満な形で研究を終了させようということです。この違いをご理解ください。
ええ、もちろん理解しております。
While I was listening to their conversation, I was struck dumbfounded with something they said. Eradicating the syndrome in secrecy. In other words, it would be as though Hinamizawa syndrome never existed. So my grandfather's name will never be revered by anyone. The sound of rustling papers and hushed proceedings filled the meeting room, but I only heard the ticking clock as I clutched my sweating palms. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Still, they never really talked about it. I guess they just, I guess if they were using it almost as a trump card, of course they would let the world know about Hinamizawa syndrome when the time was right, so. Yeah. What do we have? 53 minutes? You know what? That's enough for me tonight. We're getting there, though. Look at these pages. Besides the last couple. Next time, though, we're going to get Rena into New Wind into... Well, if we can't do that one. I don't know. We'll get some Rena, though. That's fun. Rena. And start getting into the 4th year, maybe? I don't know when we get this. Because they kind of talked about that in the one we just talked about. So where would that come in? Which means we probably missed something, but maybe we have to go Rena, then somehow it unlocks that one too. I have no idea, but thank you guys for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time with Fragment Time with Aiden. Woo!